Hello, it's a great honor for me to participate in your conference. I admire your culture and your country, and that's why it's a great pleasure. I visited China quite often in the last years, and now I'm really looking forward to be back very soon. I will talk about the mega mindset today. That's my presentation. In the last 10 years, the world has changed fundamentally. The way of thinking of 2010 would no longer be helpful today. Let us take the development of cars as an example. In the past, they were made to transport. Today, they are platforms for software. People used to be the drivers. Today, they are driven by big data. This clearly shows that our world and our thinking are changing faster than ever. That's why we need a new mindset that understands faster and can act faster. It needs the quality of a mega mindset, or let's call it the 5G mindset. This is the topic I will be talking about today. We all want to develop a good future together. To do so, we need role models and concrete guidelines. In our science and in our work, we use this sentence from Lao Tzu as a horizon and constant reminder. There is no new mindset without self-transformation. Let us listen to him. If you want to awaken all of humanity, then awaken all of yourself. If you want to eliminate the suffering in the world, then eliminate all that is dark and negative in yourself. Truly, the greatest gift you have to give is that of your own self-transformation. And the new technology comes from outside, but our personal transformation will come from the inside. My name is Thomas Drury, and I'm professor at the Sigmund Freud University in Vienna and director and founder of the Institute for Future Psychology. We analyze the effects of digitization, artificial intelligence, robotics, and mental overload caused by fundamental changes. In order to understand how the technical changes affect the human psyche, we have created a virtual institute in which we work only with personified avatars. With VR glasses and our own avatar, we meet in the cloud, and people from all over the world can join us at any time. And no travel costs, no pollution, and all that takes place in real time. With these experiences, we now know better how to manage the future psychologically. There's no doubt that there are three things we need to learn in order to get along in a 5G world. There is prevention, anticipation, and imagination. We can train and practice these skills. To do so, we use robots, augmented and virtual technologies to train this new life in the cloud. Learning is becoming a permanent and never-ending process for all generations. To develop 5G consciousness, it is important to know at least roughly the function of your own brain. Our reptile brain is over 500 million years old, yet it plays still an important and current role in all our lives. As soon as we feel too much fear, stress, or insecurity, this part of our brain takes immediately control. This reduction applies to almost everyone in the world, no matter how smart, rich, or experienced. This means when you are totally insecure, there are only 3 options to act: fight, flight, or freeze. So, if you don't understand or even deal with 5G technology, it will be impossible to use it creatively or to your advantage. This is something you should always keep in mind. Let me make a comment at this point of my presentation. It is not possible in the few minutes of my presentation to explain all the components of each chart in detail. But still, I can give you some insights. In the course of our research, we have discovered that there are many different forms of human intelligence. Here you have just a few examples. Let's take a closer look at 2 of them. Emotional intelligence comes from the stomach. It is neuronal anchored in the limbic system. It is highly reactive. You cannot create fear internationally just by willing so. It is always triggered by an event. Or take the cultural intelligence. It is always closely linked to one's language, to one's home, region, religion, and so on. Many different factors. We are all absolutely culturally shaped. Knowledge of cultural characteristics is extremely important if you want to establish a new technology. Because, first of all, people have to accept it, and on an emotional and experiential basis. Coming to the next. In addition to human intelligence, however, new and digital forms have also existed for 2 decades. We all know something about artificial intelligence. It changes our thinking and acting radically with big data or algorithms. Immersive intelligence also has emerged from preoccupation with digitalization and working in the cloud or in virtual spaces. We dive into other worlds, like computer games or science fiction scenarios. With the help of VR glasses, we live in another dimension and thereby develop immersive skills with increasing experience. 5G will have an incredible impact on this immersive learning, as the new capabilities improve our virtual adventures exponentially. The virtualization of the world and the possibilities of 5G contribute to the fact that we have developed new forms of our ego. And therefore, we need to learn to live in different realities. Here you see a few examples. With our avatar me, we will move in fictional environments that are free from environmental pollution, distance, or spatial restrictions. Every imaginable space can be programmed and experienced. The digital self is now the largest memory machine in the world. Soon, all our images, our texts, our movements will be recorded. This can and will mean that our digital ego knows more about ourselves than our human ego does. First of all, our brain, our emotions, and our self-image must learn to deal with these new realities. We call the competence to synchronize these different realities future navigation. For several months now, we have all been experiencing the biggest emergency stop in human history. For the first time, the whole world is affected, and every nation has to find its own way to healing. And yet, for the right vaccine and a good global future, we need a universal, common, and respectful solution. We do not know where the current pandemic will take us, but one thing is clear. Never before has a crisis so mercilessly exposed the strengths and weaknesses of countries around the world. We must learn from this. Despite the closure of national borders, digitization is accelerating the process of global networking, and 5G will continue to drive the opportunities for trade, communication, and value creation. Now is the time to learn the lessons and consciously shape the future. The terms on this chart played an important role even before Corona. In order to understand how 5G works and the opportunities it offers, we need to understand the implications in all these areas, like virtual worlds, platforms, big data, blockchains, Bitcoin, robotic, nanotechnology, and so on. Only then can we understand the dimensions of the giga installation correctly and concretely. One more note. In many countries, there have been references and simulations of a possible pandemic. Scientific foresights have been available already in 2020. For example, the German government had a simulation in this year. Unfortunately, we didn't create too much efforts to prevent a situation like this. We can now learn from this that futurology and anticipatory thinking will be existential for the next few years for each country and for all of us. Therefore, the questions arises, how can we practice future? How can we learn to navigate foresightedly in unknown times? And how can we accelerate our brain so that we can use not only technical exponentiality, but also human exponentiality? For this, we have to train our mind and our emotionality. Over the last 3 years, the Institute for Future Psychology has developed its own methods and tools for this purpose, such as the Future Compass, pre-thinking the futures, and immersive learning. Let me shortly explain the Future Compass with a few words. It is a method of asking new questions. All these questions are getting in the direction of 10, 15 years in the future. We don't want to know what you are thinking right now or what you have thought in the past. No, we just want to accelerate your imagination. Feel free about everything you have experienced. Yeah? Just create, dream, and use your fantasy. We made it 5,000 times with 5,000 people already, and now we know definitely that it's really a neuronal training. It's a psychological training, you know, to open up your mind and accelerate your imagination capability. Or, for example, science fiction literature. You know, this is another content in which we saw within the last 100 years that fantasy is the most driving tool in general at all. You know? Together with the well-known dimensions of meditation, gaming, or as I said, science fiction culture, we now have prospective building blocks to push our thinking forward and to improve our imagination considerably. We will be happy to report on these competencies in further events. Unfortunately, this would go too far right now. In conclusion, I would like to point out only a few dimensions that should be filled with content and action plans. We are about to enter a new giga world, and 5G will be the path on which we will all travel into this new time. Now, we have to quickly familiarize ourselves with these abilities and learn them. 5G awareness is our license to drive into this future. I mentioned several points here, like giga benefits. Of course, we have to think and to explain to customers, to pupils, and to all the people, what is the advantage if you use 5G, for example. And we can give a lot of positive examples, like 5G will change definitely also our health systems. You know, we can make video medicine, you know. All this will give us huge advantages, and we should be really aware to use it in a proper way. It was a great honor to participate in your conference. I hope that we can deepen all these informations in the future, and there is no doubt that the coronavirus, of course, is a dramatic development. But on the other hand, it is giving us the chance to open up our eyes what we can do better than before. And let me finalize my presentation with some insights from Germany. We noticed through Corona that our schooling system is far behind time. We have great difficulties to do video conferencing, digital education, or even avatar education now in our universities or in our schools. So dramatically, we are learning that we have to accelerate our changing processes much faster than ever before. I think it's very important that we see and learn that a new technology like 5G can't be successful with an education on an emotional and educative level of consciousness. As more the people are prepared, what are the advantages of 5G, as more we will integrate it into our lives, and as more we will be successful and guide each other and together to a human and good future. Thank you very much for your attention. All the best, and hopefully see you soon in Rio, in Shanghai, in Beijing, or wherever. Thank you very much.